Blogging for Business. Increase your traffic, subscribers and sales. Presented by me, Sarah Arrow, on behalf of Namecheap. I'm just going to share with you a little about my background and my story, because I will have some elements in common with you, and hopefully you'll realise at the end of this presentation that if I can do this and get incredible results, you can too. When I first started blogging, I was on maternity leave. It was 2006. I had no idea what blogging was, and when my husband walked through the door that day and said, "I need your help in the business, because if you don't help me get more leads, we're going to be bankrupt in 6 weeks," I never realised what a life-changing statement that was. I never realised all of the things that I did prior to that were going to change so radically. It was my moment of truth. I didn't really know how to help my husband, so I hit the search engines, and I have to be honest, back in 2006, the information just wasn't there. A lot of the talk around lead generation was aimed at corporates and big businesses, and there was me, a small business, or married to a small business owner, and I did not understand half of the things that people were talking about. If I understood a third of it, I would think I was having a great day. I really struggled with the concept of generating leads for my husband's business, and I was doing lots of online research but not coming up with anything that was valuable or helpful for him. So I did that time-honoured method when you don't know the answer. I was checking my emails, and in my emails a site was recommended to me. This site was called BT Tradespace. I hopped on over there, and all I had to do was make a few quick clicks to add my website URL. I had a website, yay, I could do that. Then I had to upload my logo. I had one of those, yay, I could do that too. And then the next thing, it asked me whether I wished to blog or podcast. I looked at blogging, saw that it was writing, and thought, I am not doing that. Writing is so not my thing. I'd rather have root canal without painkiller than do any writing. And then I looked at podcasting. Podcasting, that meant I had to speak. Oh, if there was one thing worse than writing for me, it was speaking. I didn't really want to do any kind of speaking. I didn't have the kit in terms of a microphone. I didn't have anything that it was saying that I needed to do. So it had to be one of these things. It had to be blogging or it had to be podcasting, according to this website. And I was stuck in between a rock and a hard place. And in the end, even though I didn't like writing, to this day, I do not identify with the name writer. I chose that because it was the lesser of two evils. There was the choice of podcasting or blogging. I chose the blogging because I could do that, or at least I thought I could learn that. And I was absolutely right. It is possible to learn the blogging, even if you think you have zero writing ability. So let's fast forward to today. Now I'm known as an award-winning blogger. I've been named as one of the most influential by Brand Republic. The Drum created a top trump card for me and scored me 14 for fieriness. I have red hair. I should have more for fieriness. I've been listed by Forbes 3 times for having excellent websites. I'm the only British person to have achieved that. I've been featured in places like The Guardian, The Telegraph, The Evening Standard, Metro and other places, talking about blogging, content marketing and how this can drive traffic and sales back to your website. Now, I'm not sharing this with you so that you think that I'm flexing. I'm sharing this with you so that you understand that if somebody like me can achieve this, somebody like you can achieve this too. My very first blog post took me 2.5 hours to write, and it was only 50 words. At the end of this presentation, you're going to be able to create incredible content that drives traffic, subscribers and sales from your website. You're in the right place if you want to be more visible online and grow your website traffic. You're in the right place if you want to increase your email list, and you're in the right place if you want better qualified leads, and you are absolutely in the right place if you want to get better results with your business blogging. So let's talk about why blogging is important in comparison to everything else online. In this slide, you'll see that I'm sharing how long something lasts, the longevity of something on the internet. The duration of a tweet is 7 minutes. The duration of a Facebook post is 7 hours. The length and longevity of a Pinterest pin is a whole lot better. 7 months, yay! But the one that is the icing on the cake, the one that gives you the most bang for your buck in terms of content creation, is your blog posts. They can last 2 years and beyond. I still get traffic to blog posts that I've written in 2010. I still get leads from blog posts that were written in 2014. Blogs and blog posts work for you 24/7. They don't care that you may not be able to go outside right now. They don't care that it's 3 a.m. in the morning. They don't ever get sick. They don't ever quit doing their job. Unlike a tweet, which only lasts 7 minutes. Come on, Twitter, give us a bit more. And unlike Facebook posts, which only give us visibility for 7 hours. In this presentation, we're going to do a lot to work on your business blogging so you get incredible results. The presentation is broken down into 3 components. The first one is knowing who your audience is. If you skip this, then anything you write after this doesn't connect. The second component is know what to write to them. And in order to make maximum impact of that, you need to know who the audience is. And finally, you need to know how to promote the content that you've created, your blog posts. And you can only do that when you know steps 1 and steps 2. So please don't skip any of the components because they layer upon layer each other so you get the very best results. The first part, we're going to get to know your audience and then create a pen pick profile. In case you were unaware, and I wasn't aware of this when I first started out, your audience and your ideal customers are the same person. Your people in your audience become your pool of prospects and lead to your ideal customers. And the more you educate them and show them things, the more likely they are to become your ideal customers. Your website traffic is made up of people looking for what you're offering. And when they're searching, you need the pieces of content that will help them take an action. Because if they don't take an action, you've potentially lost contact with them for forever. When you know them in detail, and in detail I'm talking beyond demographics, beyond male or female, Gen X, Gen Z. When you know them intimately, you can build a much stronger bond that increases trust and increases the opportunities for you to help somebody and to serve them and to grow your business. And the secret to all of this is the clear communication of what to do next. People like to be guided, particularly if they're not quite sure of what they need to do. You also need to invite people to stay in touch with you. And that isn't just to follow you on social media platforms and build audiences on places you don't own. This is ask them to stay in touch by opting onto your email list. Even if you don't have an email list right now, Ask people to stay in touch for a discount or a coupon. Something like this will help build your subscribers and help them along the buying process. Not asking people to stay in touch makes it very difficult for people to ultimately do business with you. Creating an ideal customer pen pick. This contains 3 elements. The first part, who are they? The second part, what do they need to know? And the third part, what's the next step for this person? Now, the first part, who are they? You need to be specific. You can't just say they're a 29-year-old person. They have to be a 29-year-old male or a 29-year-old female or somebody who prefers not to identify their gender. Because when you talk about something relating to women, you can be detailed about the day in their life. When you talk about something that's specific for men, you can be detailed in what he does. And when somebody is gender neutral or preferring not to say, you can talk about how their day is specifically for them. When you don't identify who the person is, you find your content really misses the mark. It goes straight over their heads. I know, for example, that you're all small business owners and you're entrepreneurs and you've got websites and you're online and you're looking to increase your traffic. And the more I know about you, the more I can tailor this presentation specifically to you. And the same applies to the blog posts. The more you know, the more specific something is. The next thing you need to think about for your pen pick is, what does she actually need to know? What does she need to know about your business in order to do business? So for my pen pick, I'm just going to create somebody called Melanie. And Melanie is a 29-year-old career woman who's looking to get on the mortgage property ladder and own her own house. So what does she need to know? What does Melanie need to know? She needs to know how much is enough for a deposit. She needs to know the good areas to live in. She needs to know all of the things about searching for a house. And then she needs to know what the next step is for her. How does she apply for her mortgage? How does she book a visitation with a house? All of these things are important, and they're things that as business owners we can take for granted that people know how to do. These all need to be broken down to create the pen pick. So here's Melanie. And as I mentioned, she's 29. She's actually in a career. And she really loves what she does. It's been a dream for her. She's earning good money. But her other big dream is she dreams of owning her own home. She lives in a major city. She grew up in a major city and she never had a garden or a yard to play in as a child. And she just dreams of having some space around her. She's in a good situation. She's not got a lot of a deposit saved up, but she's working really hard and she thinks she's going to get a rise at the end of the year and that will help her. She's also on track for some really good bonuses and she thinks in 6 months she will be ready to put down a deposit on her dream home. What impacts her? Well, her ability to achieve a bonuses impacts her. She may have worries around that. She's not quite sure whether she will get a mortgage because she defaulted on a credit card when she was at university in her late teens. She's since corrected that, but she's worried about that. That's in the back of her mind. Where does she get her info from? Well, actually, Melanie stalks all the Facebook groups where they talk about buying a house. And she's on several property forums where she's watching the plumbers and the electricians talking about all of the things that could go wrong with a house. And she attends a couple of property seminars to learn about how to buy the very best property for her money. Next, we need to work out what she needs to know. And she needs to know about making a purchase of a house. This is going to be the biggest thing she ever buys in her life. She also needs to actually make that purchase, and she also needs a backup plan, because what if she doesn't get that bonus? What if she can't purchase when she thought she could? What does she do next? And all of these are things that potentially weigh down Melanie, because they're things that are beyond her control, and she may be feeling a bit of anxiety around them because she wants to have a family, but if she doesn't get on that property ladder soon, she's going to be in trouble. And then the final component of our pen pick. What's her next step? How does she achieve her goal? Now, an ideal customer can have multiple goals before she reaches her end goal. Her first goal could be visiting the right house. Her secondary goal could be getting the deposit together. Her tertiary goal could be actually buying the house. Does she get it surveyed? Does something else have to happen? What are the steps in the process? And how does she achieve all of her goals? Don't be frightened to do some research around your ideal customers and digging deeper. If you've already got an email list, survey them and ask them questions. Ask them what their next steps are, what information that they would need. There are tools that will help you. Most governments, no matter where you're based in the world, whether it's the US, Australia, the UK, or somewhere else, have a department that will give you statistics. They will tell you how many people of a certain demographic there are in an area. In the UK, this is YouGov, and you are able to find out lots of information about your ideal customers in order to create a pen pick that works really, really effectively. You can also use tools like SparkToro, SPARKTORO.com, which will give you a wealth of data. A free profile there will give you 10 searches, and you can check the audience insights and determine where your ideal customer is online, where she hangs out the most, and whether there's a large audience or a smaller audience there. When you do your research, pull together all of this information to create your pen pick and complete it in as much detail as possible, because when you can visualize your ideal customer, it's so easy to write to her. Ideas on what to blog about. In this part, we're going to create a limitless supply of content ideas. When you know the who, the what becomes easier. So we met Melanie and we know that she wants to buy a house. So we've got some questions that we can ask Melanie. What type of house should she buy? When is the best time to buy? Why buy a house in this economic climate? How to buy a house? Where are the best houses located? And can you buy a house? Now, every time you have an idea, write it on a post-it note. You can like, what type of mortgage will suit a first-time buyer? What type of mortgage suits somebody who's purchased before? When is the best time to get a mortgage? Why get a mortgage right now? How to get the mortgage. And as you can see, when you apply the when, the what, the why, the how and the where, you spin off lots of ideas, particularly when you start applying them to your pen pick, in our case Melanie's situation. The other question that you can apply is can. And people type questions into search engines, so you know when somebody's asking questions, they're aware of their problems, they're aware of their situation, and they are ready to find a solution for it. They're on the process to becoming a buyer of what it is you're offering. And when you answer the question can, you're helping them make a decision. Did you know one of the most searched questions is, can you give a dog strawberries? I laughed so much But there are obviously lots of pet owners out there who grow strawberries and want to know, can they give their dog a strawberry? There are questions that you will have for your audience that nobody else is using or asking because they don't think somebody will use the phrase can in their questions. So in Melanie's case, can I get a mortgage? And you'll see from using the what, the where, the who, the whys and hows, as well as the cans, that that big idea becomes lots of little ideas. We were just talking about mortgages and we broke it down into many smaller components. And each of these components can become a blog post. And each of these components identifies an area that our pen pick, our ideal customer, is struggling with. And when we bring them together on our blog, we create a powerful traffic attraction resource that somebody like Melanie comes over with one specific question, finds all the wealth of information and knows that you're the expert. You're going to be the person that helps her get a mortgage and buy her dream home. Now you've got all of these ideas, and there are lots and lots of ideas, and that's why I recommend the post-its. The next thing is to sift them and put them into an editorial calendar. And an editorial calendar is a fancy way of saying schedule or diary. Now I recommend that you buy a pocket diary and have a page to a day. And in that diary, you write all of the things that impact your ideal customer. So if she's not around for holidays, or if she's out of town for conferences, or if there are certain vacation times that are really popular, or she's got family commitments or family holidays, they all go in this diary. So you can adjust your content accordingly. And then when you've done that, get your post-its and then start sifting them. Are they a piece of content that is at the beginning, the top of your funnel, the entry point of somebody getting to know you? Are they the attention pieces of content? Put one of those on one of the days. Are they an interest, as in somebody already knows who you are, they're taking an interest, they are digging a little bit deeper? If you think your idea is an interest idea, pop that in next to the attention one. Then you have the desire. They are really, really wanting this. Now this could be something like, top 10 locations to live in London, and you're really increasing the desire to own a property in London. And finally is the action. Some of the post-its that you've got will be action pieces of content where people want to take the next step, and pop those into place. And you will find that your diary becomes full of post-its. And the brilliant thing about post-its is if it's the wrong idea or the idea no longer resonates with you, you can take it out and throw it in the bin. You can adjust your post-its according to the schedule that your ideal customers have. If something comes up, if a conference is cancelled, you might want to put in some more interest and desire pieces of content because you may have just had attention content in that time. And when you use the AIDA method for sifting your content, you will find that it becomes really attractive to your ideal client. It encourages her to come onto your site and to learn more from you. And simply by keeping it with post-its and moving it throughout the diary, you can add in new ideas when they come, you can swap them about. But the most important thing is when you write, the hand-brain connection means you retain this information for longer and you are more likely to act upon it. And yes, it's lovely to have an automated scheduling spreadsheet, but it doesn't have that brain hand engagement. So by all means, use a spreadsheet, use a piece of paper, use post-its, use a WordPress plugin. Whatever you use what works for you. when you've sifted your ideas, the next phase is creating your content. Because once you've created it, you now have to promote it. And it's really quite simple. Each of your ideas becomes a blog post, and the blog post contains 3 elements: an introduction of why it's important, and jump straight to the story. If you're struggling to do this, write it out and then eliminate the first paragraph. Just scrap it straight away. You will find when you do that that your second paragraph is actually far stronger. It has less of the waffle and far more impact. When you've done your introduction, talk about the salient points. What's relevant? What do they need to know? Link to the evidence that supports your hypothesis. If you think mortgages are going to be no longer in business by 2025, you have to have some supporting evidence. You can't just come out and make crazy claims. You have to link to reputable resources. And reputable resources are really, really important, because if you've got something to say, people are going to go and click and see how you formed that opinion. And it's okay to have the wrong opinion from time to time if you're showing people the evidence of how you formulated that opinion. It's not okay to put up opinions without support. Then you have your summary of the article and your call to action. And this is where most blog posts fail. Most blog posts fail because they don't have a call to action. They just say, thanks for reading, and that's it. What a waste of an opportunity. Somebody has loved you enough to click your headline, to read through, to check all your conclusions, and they really love what you're sharing, and you've not encouraged them to join your email list or to look at a sales page or to contact you or to book a call. And that's really frustrating for people. You can't even get to the promote your content stage if you don't have your calls to action in place. Now, as the content creator, as the blogger, as the expert, it's your job to take your content to your ideal reader. So that means when you've done your research, when you looked at SparkToro, YouGov and all of the statistics places, you will know exactly where she hangs out online and where she gets her advice from. And that means you can share your wisdom and, where appropriate, your links. Quite often, if you talk in forums and groups about your expert knowledge, people will click and follow the links back to your website. They will follow you on Twitter, they will follow you on Facebook, and then you can share your blog posts and your snippets from your blog posts, and people will click and come over. So, the 4-part content promotion framework. Share on all of your social channels, because all of the social media platforms have search bars. Repurpose your content into new formats. Your blog post can quickly become a live stream. It can become a video. It can become many things. Remember to optimize it for search engines. So you have your initial burst of traffic across social and another burst through the repurposing, and that gives your optimization time to kick in. Remember to be shareable and include the relevant calls to action. So if you can't invite somebody onto a call with you or to do business with you because that piece of content isn't relevant, then invite them to share the post. Now, don't just rely on the search engines. People also search hashtags and they ask questions, and all of that gives you the opportunity to share your links. Then you have to map out how frequently you're going to blog. And as Aristotle says, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. So that means you're going to have to blog on a regular basis, and by regular I mean a couple of times a week. And you'll find that when you do this, you get the very best results. If you'd like my help, I would like to invite you to join the 30-day blogging challenge. The details are in your worksheet. Thank you so much for coming over and listening. I hope you've got a whole raft of ideas, that your head is brimming with the things that you can talk to your ideal audiences. If you'd like to find out more about me, you can visit contentnitro.co.uk. Feel free to email me, sarah@contentnitro, or contact me on Facebook. Follow the arrows. Thank you, and thank you, Namecheap.